From an NCAA football career to the NFL as one of the highest regarded officials in the league during his tenure, to the business world, and he's an inventor as well. Today, we thank you for joining us, and we go outside the box with the wonderfully interesting and talented Mike Carey. Mike, hello.
Hey, Andrew. Thank you for the nice introduction. I wondered who you were talking about.
Yeah. Oh, it's a pleasure, Mike. It's so cool to have you here. There's so much that I want to get into. Obviously, people know you for your time in the NFL, your long career as an official in the NFL, but you had a collegiate playing career. You've dove into the business world, into the ski industry in terms of inventing a few very interesting products. So much more than meets the eye, and I want to touch all that. But first off, I have to ask. You are in phenomenal shape. I have to know, what's your secret? Is it diet, exercise, a good combo of both?
I think the number one thing is to pick your parents well, But I try to just stay level. I've always been active. I've loved sports all my life, and so I've trained for sports. And then once you get in that kind of a habit, you just get addicted to, I think, the level of peace you have after you finish a workout. I don't know anybody who loves working out, but what the feeling you get afterwards is great. And, my body has served me so well for so many decades that I've always wanted to treat it well so it can continue to give me what I like to do. And I've just been fortunate to enjoy being active. And I love to eat. I mean, it's not like I eat small portions, but I do watch the quality of food that I eat. I'm pretty much all organic, mostly vegetables, but I love bacon, so I can't say that that's that's an exception. So I think moderation is the most important thing of everything.
Yeah, for sure, Mike. You sound like my wife and I. We're fairly health conscious and same shtick with the diet. Try to eat real foods and stay active. But you're right on the money too. You can control a lot, but genes are important. And when you say pick good parents, you've got good genes, obviously.
Yeah, I got lucky. Also, not just my genes, but just everything that I was exposed to culturally from my parents. I was just so privileged.
That's so cool that you can recognize that. A lot of people, that falls through the cracks, I think. Most people know you from your days in the NFL, and you were an official in the league from 1990 through 2013. Is that right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
It's so neat for me, and I used to get this a little bit as a public address announcer in the major leagues. There weren't many of us. There was not many NFL officials. I met a cruise ship captain the other day, which I filed that under interesting jobs, but you have to get that a lot. I mean, it's not every day that you get to meet somebody who officiated football at the highest level, especially for as long as you did.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I hear mostly, from people who see me, and I get recognized fairly often in public. It's just how happy they are to see somebody who worked at that level. But friends of mine who tell people that they know an NFL official, they say most people don't believe that's true. I think they think that we're hobbits or something and we don't really exist until Sundays. But it's because it is rarefied air. You don't know it until you get up there, and then you find out that it is a very special place.
Speaking of fitness and keeping yourself in shape, I think a lot of us, as casual football fans might overlook this, but physically, an NFL referee it's a demanding job from a physical level, is it not?
It is really demanding from a physical level, and it's inspiring too. I mean, you're on the field with, 24 to 30-year-old kids who are at the top of their game, and the speed and the power is really indescribable. And you've got to keep up, get out of the way, move around. But I'll tell you, even though it is physically draining, the most exhaustive part of it is the mental part of it, how to focus for 3 hours on specific things while trying to be aware of everything else that's going on. It's one of the best challenges I've ever had.
Mike, I can't even imagine. You almost led me into my next point. Pressure, pressure, pressure. I mean, you're getting it from players, you're getting it from fans, you're getting it from coaches. The sidelines are barking. When you said power, I love that word, the power. But Do you think about that in the heat of the moment when you're on the field, or are you just too focused and too channeled in for that 3 hours that you don't hear the outside noise as much as we might think?
Every play is only like 7 seconds long, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for those 7 seconds, everything disappears, but the action and what you're watching and letting your body do what it's supposed to do and your mind working with your body to see what you're supposed to see, but most importantly, to be aware and perceive it so you can make these quick decisions. And so it's I don't know. It's just a unique situation to be part of, and it's every time I think about it, I'm just in awe of those athletes on the field and the concentration it takes to be a part of that. But yes, you do notice things. So once the play is over, you get to see how what happened, like, but what an amazing play and what a dynamic thing happened here. And then the crowd comes back and the noise on the field is incredible because it's all funneled down to the field and it's almost like this pure energy and it lifts you up until the snap. And then you go right back to focus and everything, like you see a movie scene where everything's in slow motion. You can hear your breath. You can hear things that you would never think you could hear. You can hear little flicks when the ball gets thrown and the player tips it. You can hear that. You can hear the difference when a pad hits somebody or the helmet hits somebody. It's just amazing what your concentration can deliver.
For those 7 or 8 seconds of live play, you are locked in. You are in the zone.
Hopefully, we're humans. So there are ebbs and flows, but the more you're able to do it every 7 seconds, the more accomplished you get.
Any asset that helped you in your officiating career, given the fact that you were a collegiate player?
I think there's a very unique position to have played the game to be able to officiate. And there are some who officiate who have never played and they get to the highest level, but that's really hard from my perspective. Because when I started officiating the year after I finished playing, and when you're watching and you're trying to determine the degrees, officiating is more gray area, spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. And to know what it feels like to be held more than they're supposed to be held or grabbed, you feel that. And so you not only see it, but you're empathetic with both sides, the person grabbing and the person being grabbed or interfered with or not interfered with. And to be able to know what to do when you're having to run full speed and not think about that you're running full speed and be locked into what you're trying to observe. You do that every day in practice and when you're playing. And so that's a fairly easy transition. And the more you practice, the more you become what you practice.
Talking with Mike Carey, longtime NFL official, now in the business world as well. We'll touch on that a little bit. Can't wait to dig into that. I got to ask you a totally off the wall here question, but you worked on crews with Ed Hockley during your tenure in the NFL. Are his biceps as big in person as they are on TV?
TV puts 10 pounds more on you than you have, but no, he's a big dude. As a matter of fact, we came in the league together. Ed and I are best friends. And when he came in, he and I were the exact same size. And then he decided, but he was a linebacker in college. And coming into the NFL, he had been doing more marathon runs, long distance running. And he just decided to put his body back to where it was when he was playing. And he got pretty big pretty fast. And I was really fortunate to be on a crew with him for 3 years. I came in the league with Pat Haggerty, who was an iconic official referee, just a gem of a man. And then I was fortunate enough to be on the crew with Jerry Markbright, who was, we call him Mom, which is not that he's maternalistic, because he was the master of the microphone. And so that was an acronym for him. And I learned so much in those 2 years and my 3 years with Ed. Then they moved me to the referee, and it was such a great springboard for me.
That's so cool. And Mike, did I read right that your brother Don was also an NFL official?
Oh, yeah. So so I got started officiating from a guy I played high school football with. A guy named Mike Sexton. He's now the road manager for the Rolling Stones. And when I came back to town, I wanted to give back to the game that had given me so much. So I was thinking about coaching, but coaching is the most demanding profession I've ever seen. And I wanted to work in the business world, and I wanted to have a family. So we're talking. He says, "Hey, you know what? I've been officiating, and I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun." And I paused and I said, just like anybody else would say, I don't like those guys. Why would I want to do that? But he kept working on me, and to his point, it is as tight as a team as guys that you play with. And, I'm lifelong friends from every level of sports that I played, grammar school, high school, college. All of them most of my best friends come from those arenas. So I was very fortunate to be drummed into becoming an official.
Well, you rose through the ranks. You made it to the game's highest level in the National Football League, which is unbelievable. Just such a cool career path that you had in that realm. But you had a fallback, too. You had a biology degree from Santa Clara University. Is that right?
Yes, I did. Uh-huh.
Or do you have a biology degree? What was Plan B if that didn't work? Or what was your interest there, and what was the thought when you were in college studying?
Well, I was going to go to med school, and but how I got to be a biology major, my dad was a physician, and so since a little kid, he'd go on house calls, I'd carry his bag for him, and I just got really, really deeply interested in how the body works and that. And when I got to high school, I had a really great biology teacher, guy named Father Collick, and at which school now called Cathedral Catholic here in San Diego. Mm-hmm. And I just got immersed, and then I just love the sciences. As a matter of fact, I did my postgraduate work in microbiology at San Diego State, and I was thinking about maybe just doing research, but not as an alternative for football, but just alternative for the business world. But the business world pulled me in, and I was fortunate enough to be successful there.
I want to dive into your business ventures here shortly. Talking with Mike Carey, longtime NFL official. I got to ask you a couple more football questions. I'm a Chicago guy. We were born and raised in the suburbs. So I have to ask you, if any Bears games during your career, particularly maybe at Soldier Field, stick out in your memory?
Well, every game at Soldier Field is a memory. There's something about that black and blue league that the fans are so intense, and they're all a little bit different. But, Soldier Field is hallowed ground for more than one reason. And my very first NFL game was there, and probably the biggest lesson that I learned in officiating started there. It's a big backstory, but the reality is that I was a side judge. My job was pass interference, catch, no catch, sideline work, all those things downfield. And I came out of the WAC, which was all we did was throw the ball. So that's one of the reasons I was fortunate enough to get into the league, is that they were plucking deep officials from the WAC because we had such a sophisticated game, and the NFL was just starting to throw the ball more than 50% in those years. They plucked coaches as well. And I'm on this long streak, and I'm backpedaling, and the quarterback overthrows the receiver, and it's going to land 20 feet out of bounds. And I just about shut my jets off, getting ready to wipe it off as incomplete, and the receiver went like 12 feet in the air, snatched it out of the air, got 2 toes down in bounds before he went out. And I said, I am never going to assume somebody can't make a play in this league. It was probably the best thing that I learned. Not you can anticipate what's going to happen, but you can't assume what's going to happen because these athletes are unbelievable.
You saw that play unfold and thought, what the heck just happened?
Exactly. It was just shocking. I mean, we had great receivers in the WAC, but when you think about those who make it to Division I college are really special. But the difference between Division I college and the NFL is more like college and Pop Warner, not college and high school, college and Pop Warner. You figure so many teams, they're lucky to get one, except for the SEC, they're lucky to get one or two players in the pros. And that's just a phenomenal expertise when you think of hundreds of thousands of kids playing football.
Mike, that's the best way I've heard it described. I played Division III baseball, very low level, and one or two of my buddies got drafted, and you go from Division III, let alone to affiliated ball, even at the rookie level. I mean, you're talking guys who are the best of the best in the nation at the Division II and III level, and then they make it up, and they hit a $110 in rookie ball and never play again. People don't understand the jump; it's insane.
Yeah, and I think the one thing the fans, I know they know it subliminally, but they're just used to seeing that kind of talent on Sundays that they just expect it. But when you're on the field, I'm in awe all the time. Just amazing what these athletes can do. And a lot of stuff people don't even recognize.
Talking with Mike Carey, longtime NFL official, now operates very heavily in the business world. You don't need to hear this from me, but I have to brag on you. I think a lot of people probably don't realize that one of the games you worked was the Giants-Patriots Super Bowl 2008, the David Tyree catch. We can discuss that. But first and foremost, I just think this is the coolest thing. You were the first African-American Super Bowl ref in the history of the NFL. I mean, if there's not a bigger feather for your cap, I don't know what would be. I knew that about you when I was, just doing some other research for our talk. I just think that is the ultimate honor and just, man, it's just so cool.
Yeah, it was a very, very special honor. At the same time, it was a very sad situation because why did it take till 2008 to have that happen? Because there are some unbelievable officials, black, white, Native American, Jewish, all of, and so, it just says a lot of how far we need to come, even though we've come a long ways, to make sure that equity exists in this country. And, we're getting there, but, until we start recognizing really what it really is, it's hard to transcend it. But yeah, and it was a great honor. First, it's a great honor just to work the Super Bowl, and then to represent your family, your community, and then all people of color, especially African Americans. I really relished that, and I wanted to do the best that I could to represent as best as I could.
Mike, that's so well said, how much work we still have to do. I love the bittersweet tone that you had when addressing that. I couldn't agree with you more. What's the process of how Super Bowl officials are appointed, or how did that unfold for you at that time back 15 years ago or whatever it was now?
Well, we're kind of graded just like the players are. I know you guys did it in baseball, but after every game, you have film breakdown, right? And you go back and you look at everything you did and everything you didn't do. Well, from college, a little bit, but in the NFL, they have a staff of 7 ex-officials and ex-coaches who grade every play for every game for every official. And then they compile those to try to see who's performing at the best level. And that's the way the process goes. And so every mistake you make, counts against you. And at the end of the season, all it takes is one mistake to knock you out of the playoffs or knock you out of the run for the Super Bowl. So it's really, really competitive. And but the main thing is you're competitive with yourself and the play that unfolds before you. But it's a process. It's subjective, obviously. So there's always bias laced in it, even though it's hard for us to recognize that. But yeah, no, I was fortunate. So the supervisor of officials at that time was Mike Pereira, who, when he came into the league, he spent 2 years on my crew, and then he went directly from my crew into the league office and became the VP of officiating. And he and I also went to college together, so it kind of gave me a leg up. Just like, if you know who Burl Toller is, Pete Rozelle was the AD at USF before he eventually became the commissioner of the NFL, and he brought Burl Toller in as the first African American official in any league. So that I think those kind of exposure points is what we need, rub shoulders with other people, and they realize that we're all the same and have expertise that maybe the superficial characteristics may make people think that that's not there, but if you look deep inside everybody, you'll find goodness.
So well said, Mike. When you get recognized on the street as Mike Carey, the NFL official, is the catch in that '08 Super Bowl with David Tyree that the first thing people want to talk about?
I think the first thing they want to talk about is that they actually met an NFL official. They want to take a picture and captures the fact that they've been able to really have a personal experience with someone who's done it. Because, like, as we talked about, I think most people think we come out of a hole on Sunday and just work the game. And I'll tell you, everybody knows that, first, we're human, we make mistakes, but that we are trained to be right down the middle. But if you're a fan, right down the middle says you've got to favor my team. And if they don't get favorable calls, then the official's a bum, right? But I have never had anyone come up to me with any disdain about officiating, ever. It's always, you guys are great. Thank you for doing what you do. Can I have a picture? But yeah, I get a lot of it all depends on where I am. I get a lot of, the Super Bowl in Buffalo. I get a lot because I was the official on the largest NFL comeback in history. Every city has something that they recognize the referee as contributing something, positive or negative. And the referee gets all the credit and all the disdain as well. So it might have been one of my officials that made a great call, but I get the positive part, and I also get the negative part if something unfortunate happens in the game. But it's really interesting to see, as I'm around the country, the different things that people remember.
NCAA football career, NFL official, a degree in biology. There's more. Now we'll go outside the box a little bit with Mike Carey and maybe talk about what folks don't know you as much for. You've got the NFL referee label, but you have an amazing business venture as well, which you've had for quite some time. I'm gonna set this story up. Correct me if I'm wrong, but then you run with it. You were skiing at one point. There was some gravel on the path you were walking on, et cetera, et cetera. You wanted to ensure that your bindings on your ski boots were protected, and take it from there.
I mean, I don't think I could say it any better than that. So, so the backstory is, I'm in San Diego, never saw snow. Went to Santa Clara to play football, and a lot of my buddies there skied, but we couldn't ski until football was over, until we graduated. So I didn't start skiing until after my senior year. And my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, bought me a brand new pair of boots and said, let's go skiing in Olympic Valley at Palisades Ski Resort. And they had just graveled the ground, and I just had these new boots, and I had been reading about the sport because I wanted to consume as much as I could. And there was all these articles about boot binding compatibility. And if you get gravel stuck between the boot and the binding, it's like pouring sand in your engine, and it just doesn't work. And there's a lot of lower limb injuries that were coming because of that. And, I was always a tinkerer. And so I said, I bet I can design something that will protect that interface. And I did, and nobody else had done it before. So I got a patent on it. And more importantly, I just got skyrocketed because all the major boot and binding companies publicly endorsed our product and encouraged skiers to use it and let us use their name free of charge on all of our advertising. So we got instant recognition across the small industry of the snow sports. And then because it was one of the first of what we call now essentials or accessories, and where that whole industry is only about 5% of the ski market, and now it's a third of the ski market. And because of its novelty, almost every time we came out with something new, we got instant placement in stores because we had been successful in something they had never seen before. And the team of developers that we have been come up with great products every year, and we've been able to reap the benefits of that.
So after a good, 25-year run or whatnot, they say the rest is history. But your company, Serious Innovation, is born, and truly now it's a family affair with you and your wife and your daughters. Is that right?
It's a family affair with us and a team affair with our whole company. We're small. We have 65 year-round employees or staff that work with us, and then during the height of the snow sports season, there are about 20 more that come on and help us get product out to the consumers and the stores. And most of them have been with us for over a decade. But like you're right, we became an overnight success after 10 hard years of work.
Yeah, it's not a quick road for sure. And I'm sure your daughters have learned so much from you, from everything that you've accomplished in your career, football and business and otherwise. But
and vice versa. I mean, I think our job is to help our children become better than their parents. I mean, it was a low bar for me, and they've excelled at everything way more than I have. I have a joke that they went to the same high school I went to, and I tell everybody, yes, between the three of us, we have 8 school records, and I don't have any of them. But yeah, so our oldest daughter, she practiced Chinese medicine. She's an acupuncturist and herbologist, and our youngest runs our marketing department. So yeah, we've been blessed with great kids.
Well, so I mean, they've learned so much from you. But you flip it. What have you learned from them?
Just what dedication does, and generosity, unconditional love, giving more than receiving. They were elite athletes, and a lot of confidence, but no superior acting. So that if you can treat every human with that basic dignity and respect that nobody loses, that really comes through, and they're very good at that. I mean, then there's a different kind of respect, the respect that you get from accomplishments or doing the right thing. And you can lose that respect, but you cannot lose your human dignity. And they show that every day in how they are with people. And it's really a beautiful thing to see.
Mike, you've accomplished so much at this point of your career. The list goes on and on. Where's your drive come from every day still to keep bettering yourself? What do you draw from? What gets you up in the morning and gets you motivated on a daily basis?
Oh, the day, I was blessed with great parents and great educators and great coaches, and everything kind of stemmed from when you leave the earth, if you can say, I've done something to help every day to help humanity, that's all that that's all you can do. And I just, I wake up, the sun's up, and I want to have a good time doing stuff. And I try to focus my life on doing things that benefit others.
That's a wonderful approach, Mike. I love it. It has been such a pleasure to speak with you. Mike Carey, longtime NFL official, self-labeled tinkerer, we'll say inventor, business person. Can we do a couple quick hits before we let you go?
Anytime. Sure.
All right. What's your preference? Working a 3-0 game in the NFL or a 31-28 ball game?
I like 31-28, but I like 31-28 with 2 minutes left in the game. The last 2 minutes of an NFL football game is some of the most unbelievable challenges and expectations. If you can be down 2 scores and you're in the game, the NFL's done a great job of managing the game so that you always have a chance in 2 minutes because the clock changes, everything changes. That type of energy and challenge is just, it's a drug. It just is amazing.
Any team allegiance for you now that you're out of the league?
Yeah, no, I don't. I was lucky. So when I was in high school, the Chargers had their spring practice at our school where we would do track practice. And so we used the same locker rooms. So that was when a long time ago, Lance Allworth and that whole crew was there. And that perimeter and so I was a huge Charger idol. Before that, I was a Cleveland Browns idol. Before that, I was a Rams idol because that was the only team on TV. And Cleveland Browns because of Jim Brown. And then the Chargers because I got to see them every week. And I used to be able to walk to the stadium from my house and watch them on Sundays. But then just the adulation just went away when they were in the same locker room, and I don't know, it just went away. And so there are a lot of people who have favorite teams in officiating, but you have to get by that and be able to recognize your biases as best you can and set them aside. And I didn't have one of those trappings.
If the story of your life is made into a movie and you're picking who plays you, who is it?
Man, of course, everybody. I'd love Denzel to play, or there's Alba. There's so many people that are just phenomenal actors, but I probably, a dishwasher would probably be the best one to play.
What was the most? You talk about the power of the league and the game and being in the moment on the field. What was the most utilized stress reliever for you when you were officiating still?
Oh, on the field, the best stress relief was So let me take it to the play. So the play is over. You are replaying that play in your head 2 or 3 times. It's amazing what the brain can do before the ball is dead for 2 or 3 seconds. And then you go through your pre-snap dialogue to know exactly all the things you're supposed to be looking for the next play. And then when the teams come up to the ball, there's this 3 or 4, 5 seconds where I just took a deep breath and just let everything go and let all the training that I had done take over and then just feel. And that kind of Zen-like moment, if you can just relax and let everything go and just be in that moment, that's one of the most surreal things. Then snap goes, and everything else is your body reacting and processing things. That's a really beautiful gift that I was given from the sport.
First song that comes on your playlist in the morning when you get up to work out?
All Along the Watchtower, the cover by Jimi Hendrix.
Great choice. And we'll part on this, Mike. If you were in charge of the league, what's one NFL rule that would potentially today need to be changed in your point of view?
No more low blocks on anybody.
Yeah.
I think the league's done a great job of designing the rules to please the fans, but there's no need to be going after people's knees, anything below the waist.
I lied. One more, Mike. Good, bad, or otherwise. Good, bad, or otherwise. Most vocal coach from your time on the field?
Most vocal. Oh my goodness. Now, every coach is vocal at some point, and every coach goes over the top. And all of them afterwards, and this is with the players too. I mean, you call something on a player and they get pissed off. I mean, then it's a highly violent, emotional game. People boil over. I have not been on the field where a player has boiled over and not 2 or 3 plays later comes back, hey man, I'm sorry, I just lost my head. I'm sure it happens, but it is remarkable how respectful the players are. Coaches most vocal, I don't know, they're just, some of them are just funny. I think Glanville was funny. Oh, who else? Everybody's funny, but Steve Mariucci, I mean, I just loved going to silent because you never knew what he was going to say. It was just hilarious. Vocal, though, I just don't want to talk disparagingly about anybody because everybody's got their demons. I love the coaches. I mean, Bill Parcells, Mike Ditka, all those that were considered tough, nowhere near tough in my vision. They could be.
Really?
No. I'll tell you one of the other life illuminating things I had, I was with Don Shula, and I had one of his last wins, actually. But one of the things I learned was how to control your emotions. I'm on the sideline as a side judge. I had a call against one of his players. He was spewing at me. I mean, just spit coming out, just angry as can be. And as the clock ticked down for, the last 15 seconds, he snapped from being this dragon, turned to his coordinator and says, okay, here's what we're going to run for this play. I mean, like, two different, and I couldn't believe that happened. And I said, I'm going to practice that, not letting my emotions get completely out of control unless you need them. So there's a lot of times you've got to get big on the field. And so there are times I let that rage out if they're bad actors. And they could feel that they're in territory they shouldn't be. But 9% of the time, I'm just having a good time with them.
That's awesome. Mike, thank you so much for taking the time, going outside the box with us today. Mike Carey, we greatly appreciate it. It was such a pleasure.
All right, my pleasure. Thanks, Andrew.